Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at multiple upcoming winter storms. A lot of them could feature a lot of freezing rain actually, which is going to create major impacts. We're going to be watching for that closely, but we're going to talk about all of that within this video. Now, before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. And I'd also highly recommend that you check out our very exciting Patreon page and then our very awesome channel membership. You can check both of those out. Well, first off, the Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comment down below. And then the channel membership, you can click that join button there next to the subscribe button. Anyways, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, do you think we have a significant freezing rain event on the way, or maybe two? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. You can always answer that after the video, by the way, as well, if you want to watch what we're talking about first, so feel free to do that as well. Now, we're taking a look at the European model, and this is for today at about 1 p.m. You can see snow showers are going to be pretty widespread throughout pretty much the Ohio Valley at this point. Let's take that towards about 5 a.m. tomorrow morning on Thursday, and you can see some more moderate to heavy snowfall begins to develop there for a lot of the mid-Atlantic. That's mostly there for northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, the Delmarva, New Jersey, and southern Pennsylvania. This is that 1-2 punch situation, so let's watch that second one come in. You can see we're kind of in the transition here by the time we're reaching about 3 p.m. on Thursday, but by the time we reach about 10 p.m. that night, the second punch comes in, and look at how far south that is. That's reaching areas like Richmond, Virginia, the eastern shore of Virginia, even Norfolk, Virginia there, seeing some snowfall mixing in. So this European model run did come much further south. We're going to be watching for that closely because that could make significant changes in the forecast. By the way, we do have an official snowfall forecast for this storm at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that. What we're going to do is we're actually going to move on, and we're going to take a little bit of a more extended look at that kind of second punch of that storm, and then we're going to take a look at what other storms the European model shows later on in this video. Alright, now here we are taking a look at about maybe 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. there on Friday, February 12th. And look at that, you can see it's still pretty far south. Richmond, Virginia getting very heavy snow right there. Norfolk, Virginia getting some more steady snowfall. Very interesting if this does play out. I'm kind of in that southeastern Virginia location, and I can tell you if this was to occur, a lot of people would get caught off guard, and that's not good in southern areas. I'm just going to let you know that's not good. As you can see, by the time we reach about 6 a.m. the next morning, still snowfall for southeastern Virginia, even Richmond. There is some freezing rain starting to mix in around the North Carolina and Virginia border, more over the more central and western regions of those states. We're going to be watching for all of these things very closely. And as you can see, by the time we're reaching about Saturday afternoon, we see kind of another storm come through, and this is that weekend storm, and it's looking like mostly a freezing rain event. Look at all that freezing rain for North Carolina and Virginia. That does move up into the mid-Atlantic where DC, Maryland, areas in southeastern Pennsylvania, including Philadelphia, even New York City, seeing some of that freezing rain. So that could be a significant impact as well if we begin to see a lot of freezing rain show up on these model runs, which it is starting to show that a lot more as of these last few runs. So we're going to be watching for all of these things very closely. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to move on, and we're going to move on towards another storm, and that's going to be the early next week snowstorm we've been talking about as well, which also could feature significant freezing rain. We're going to take a look at that as well in just a moment. Alright, now here's the beginning of that storm, and as you can see, a lot of freezing rain for pretty much the deep south states actually. Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky. Honestly, over the next week or so, I'm taking a look at, well, major snowfall, but also major freezing rain, which is more concerning in my opinion. By the time we're reaching 6 a.m. on Tuesday, look at how terrible that is. All that heavy freezing rain for Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia. I have my fingers crossed this does not happen because this would be a significant freezing rain event. And we're actually going to take a look at the total freezing rain a little bit later in the video, so stay tuned for that. It's a lot. It's a lot. I'm just going to let you know. Also, a lot of snowfall there for Illinois, Missouri, Indiana, even up through Michigan. We'll take a look at that in a moment as well. Let's take a look at the GFS, and this one's pretty different for that 1-2 punch system. It's a lot further north on the first punch, as you can see. Even areas like State College seeing some snowfall. That's much further north than what the European model was showing. That second punch comes in a little further south, but it's still further north than what the European model had it as. Remember, it showed Norfolk as snowfall. On the European model. This one, it doesn't even have Richmond as snowfall. So this one is significantly further north. We do get that weekend snowstorm and ice storm as well, with some significant freezing rain there for Virginia, Maryland, and the Delmarva up through New Jersey as well. And then we get that early next week snowstorm, and as you can see, this one also has significant freezing rain. So this is a concerning trend that both of these models are picking up on, but this one also has that significant snowfall going on for the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, and portions of the Northeast as well. So they're in actually surprisingly good agreement for that system. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to move on, take a look at some of our lower resolution models for that first 1-2 punch system. Then we're going to start talking about total snowfall, total freezing rain, things of that nature, and even my total snowfall forecast for that 1-2 punch snowstorm. Now I know it can get very confusing when I talk about multiple winter storms within this video, but just stay tuned, stay with me, guys. We can do this. So even though we're talking about a lot, we're seeing the NAM 3KM model. This is a very high resolution model. We're starting out early on Thursday, tomorrow morning, and you can see we would already have some moderate to heavy snowfall going on for southern Ohio in through West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New Jersey. So you can tell this one is more with that northern area seeing the snowfall. Here's that second punch, and as you can see, it comes in further south. So this one's pretty much identical to the GFS, just higher resolution. We pretty much closed that out by time of reaching maybe about 4 or 5 a.m. there on Friday. All right, now let's take a look at the NAM 12KM model, and this one's a lot more like the European model. With that first punch, it has it pretty much in a pretty identical place, and then with that second punch, it's much further south than any of the other models we're calling for other than the European model. So this one's actually in agreement with the European model, which is very, very interesting. Also, speaking of very interesting things, the RGEM model is very interesting because it has that first punch and that second punch both hitting the same location, which would cause the most snowfall to occur, obviously, if those two heaviest bands of snowfall come through the same exact location. This one has it going straight through Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland, up through Delaware, New Jersey, and Southern Pennsylvania with the first punch. And there's the second punch. It's a little bit further south than the first punch, but a lot of those areas see the same that saw the heavier snowfall with the first one, see it with the second one as well, like DC, Delaware, Northern Virginia, and that would cause a lot of snowfall to occur. So what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at the total snowfall according to all of these models for that 1-2 punch snowstorm. And then we're going to take a look at the European model and the GFS model, total snowfall through the entire model runs, and even their total freezing rain through the entire model run, just to show you how major that could potentially be. And then we're going to get into my official snowfall forecast for that upcoming snowstorm for today through the 12th. All right, now here's the total snowfall for that first snowstorm here on the European model. As you can see, if you're anywhere in the grays, you're taking a look at about a dusting, if anything. In the lighter blues, we're taking a look at about, well, 2 to 6 inches of snow. And then within those purples, which we see some of that for West Virginia, Maryland, DC, and even in through Delaware, and a little bit of New Jersey potentially. That's where we have 6 to 10 inches of snow. And you see that little pink dot there in West Virginia? That's very mountainous regions out there, beautiful area. That's where we're at about 10 to 12 inches of snow. So there could be some 10-inch plus regions in there. We will see that on my snowfall forecast. Here's this GFS model, and as you can see, it's a significant jump further north here. We see mostly a lot of those pinks, which is heavier amounts than what the European model is calling for, but we see it more for southern Pennsylvania, western Maryland there, and then northern West Virginia and northern Virginia there. In those pinks, that's where we're taking a look at about 10 to 20 inches of snow. I do see an 18.5 there, centered right over the western regions there of Maryland. So the GFS would have a lot more snowfall with that snowstorm. Here's that NAM 12KM model, which again, this one really agreed with the European model. As you can see, it's a significant jump further south with that second punch, but you could tell where that separation is in between the two there because there's grays in between. So this one had them very separated, whereas the RGEM model, remember, has them basically on top of each other. Let's take a look at the NAM 3KM model, and this one has them a little bit more connected. This one really meets in the middle also. You can see the heaviest snowfall is mostly for western Virginia, northern West Virginia, and then maybe even some mountainous regions there of Maryland and Pennsylvania. You can definitely tell this one's higher resolution because it really pinpoints those high elevation regions. Let's take a look at that RGEM model, and as you can see, this one does have a lot of snowfall just like the GFS model because it has those storms basically passing right on top of each other. Widespread pinks throughout West Virginia, Maryland, DC, the Delmarva, and even southern Pennsylvania there with 10 to 20 inches of snow within that pink region, mostly 10 to 12 or 14 though, on the lower end of that. For the total snowfall here on our European model for the next 240 hours, which is the next 10 days, look at how much snowfall is expected according to this model. We have 20 inches plus expected from northern Arkansas through Missouri, Illinois, straight through Chicago into portions of Wisconsin and even Michigan. I know a lot of you up there have been kind of in a snow drought a little bit, except for Chicago and Illinois now. You guys have had multiple events, but mostly Michigan and Wisconsin. I've been getting a lot of comments from you guys saying, oh, there's hardly been any snow. So I'm really hoping that this comes to be true, because that would be really good for you guys to see some snowfall for sure. Even northern New England there, you could see expecting 15 inches or more. Here's that freezing rain, though, over the next 240 hours. Take a look at how much of that is expected. Multiple regions in the darker magenta shades there. That's where we're expecting an inch plus of freezing rain, which would be obviously just so significant, damaging, and just crippling in general. So we're really hoping this does not occur. Let's move on to that GFS model. And as you can see, this one actually has more snowfall. Widespread snowfall throughout the east and the more central regions of the United States. So multiple major upcoming snowstorms that could be major are expected according to both of these models. And then for this model's freezing rain total, you can see it's pretty similar. It's a little further south, but for real, I mean, this is serious if we see anything close to what this is calling for come true. So we're going to really hope that that does not happen, but I do expect it is possible. These models have been trending more and more and more towards that, and it's this weekend snowstorm that would feature that freezing rain, and then also the one around Monday and Tuesday. So we really want to hope that those ones trend away from the freezing rain, but that's not looking so likely at this point. Anyway, for my official snowfall forecast for that 10th, which is today, through the 12th snowstorm, we expected dusting to 3 inches of snow within this white region, 3 to 6 inches of snow within this lighter blue region there, and then 6 to 10 inches of snow for northern Virginia, portions of West Virginia, southern Pennsylvania, portions of Maryland, including DC and Baltimore there. And then we have a 10 to 15 inch region there for the mountainous regions of West Virginia up through Maryland, up through southern Pennsylvania there. Anyway, for our confidence tab, we're at about a 4 out of 6. I wish I could say we were higher, but you've seen the disagreement on the European model and the GFS model being significantly far apart on what they expect with this system. So my confidence isn't a 5 or a 6 yet, but it could be by tomorrow. But our storm will already be underway, so it's going to be hard to determine if I'm going to be making a video for that storm or not. I might update that storm. We will have to see for sure. Anyway, for today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, which winter storm do you think will be the most major out of any of these? And James Marr, who's been actually winning a lot of these, said, I think the Saturday-Sunday storm will end up being the most major out of all of them. And I have to agree. I think if that one does feature that freezing rain, it will definitely be the most major storm out of all of these because of that, 1 inch plus freezing rain being possible. Anyway, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons: Sebastian Tao, John Benbenick, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Alan Belemo, Adam S., Larry LePan, Donna Carnes, Cameron Marshall, and Aidan Mattis, alongside our diamond patrons: Bill Roberts, Alan Cherry, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalessa, Michael Buell, Terry Curtis, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Kellen Manhart, Itch J, Cindy Klein, Alicia Davis, Mark J, Luke Falego, Gary's, and John Quilisi. If you'd like to be a part of our Patreon screen of the day, you can do so by joining our very exciting Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comments down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.